Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And finally, the Japanese live stream ended, so I could actually go back and rewind through it and look at everything. But we do have all of the information related to the Christmas meta. And when I mean all the information, I kind of mean all of it. And I'll elaborate on that later in the video. But starting off, we have upcoming changes to Valor Cup, starting with Season 25, which is the newest ranked season that'll start in a week. And this says that as of Season 25, the overkill score limit and the remaining HP score limit will be increased. So now there's a higher damage cap and there's a higher HP cap for point scoring in relation to ranked Valor Cup. So that will open up the scores even more. It means you'll have to do more damage, which makes sense because with all the power we've had now, we've been able to do the damage cap for quite a while. So that is kind of duh. And plus it goes along with the super evolution of gear and enchantments and all that. So I think this was a foregone conclusion, and it's now finally catching up. So again, that only really affects people that really care about ranked Valor, which not even I care about ranked Valor really. So it doesn't really affect that many people overall. It's only for ranked, not normal Valor Cup. Then we move on. We have the Part 3 login bonus of the 3rd anniversary, which is 200 tickets in total, 10 tickets a day, and they are used on a special banner that is going to consist of units from Primal Demon, the Prosper meta, Ogre's Pride, and Commander. So the potential to pull some actually decent units out of here is quite high, because you can get Momiji and Soe, you could get Commander Hinata or Shizu. The Prosper meta is going to be relevant this month. Primal Demon, I'm not super big on and really any of those units, but they're there. And these are free, right? And at the end of it, this also says that you get a guaranteed EX pity ticket after you spend a certain amount of these. So I don't know if it's going to be 100 pity or 200 pity, if you have to use all the tickets to get it. But it says you can get 200 tickets, and then you can exchange for a guaranteed 5-star EX unit from the 3rd anniversary Part 3 banner, which is going to include all these characters. So more free tickets, more free chances to pull EX characters. This is a very good thing. I love free stuff. So let's move on. We have a defense battle against Elmesia incoming on December 1st/2nd, depending on your time zone. You can get some anniversary medals, some shards, some platinum hammers. This has a move-out limit, I believe. Or no, this doesn't have a move-out limit. Something else does in the future. So defense battle is incoming. Here is... It is... Okay. The Blanc sticker that we got from the sticker quest, we're going to get that tonight when the meta drops, and her food item. This says that on the 2nd, they will add the Jean and Violet stickers into, I think, the Koban shop that you could buy them. But we're going to get the Blanc sticker for free, at least. And then we've got double bond XP incoming, which is great. And also they're going to be able to give us some 3rd anniversary cake items for food also during conversations. So double bond XP is great. Food items is great. That's just extra crystals for a lot of people. We have a new weekend Predator battle event coming in, which is interesting. And we've been complaining about not having skill enhancements for a while now. So I think they finally listened to some of that feedback. It's only on the weekend, so it'll appear once every 7-ish days or something, 5 days, whatever. But it will give us the rainbow skill enhancements and the potions that you can use to exchange for specific ones. This has the move out limit though, so they don't say what the move out limit, like what force restrictions there are, but this will be a weekend event starting on the 29th, so just a few days from now. And then we move, and we get a KAIJIN event starting on December 5th and going until the 9th, or technically the 8th. So this is very interesting. because Kaijin events only come in right before special things, i.e. anniversaries, half anniversaries, collabs. They don't just really drop them willy-nilly. There's always something that comes after it that requires you to get these materials to level up characters. So this, I think, does add to the theory that we might get a collab. They didn't talk about any of those special projects, 1 or 2, in this live stream, which kind of shocked me. I thought they would at least talk about maybe one of them, but this does lend credence to maybe something extra interesting is coming maybe later in the month, since this only goes until the 9th, or maybe January. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. We have a Magicrystal giveaway, which is more clearly explained in the game news, so we'll look at that in a bit. And then we have some quality of life updates. So this right here is talking about Bond XP. So they're increasing the chances of you getting gifts from Bond conversations in town, whether it be the Tempest coins or the potions or whatever. And they're also increasing the amount of potions you can get during conversations from 3 to 7, and now it's going to be 5 minimum, 10 maximum, which is great. More stamina potions, excellent. More chances to get stamina potions, excellent. They're updating the Kaijin event to drop more items overall. They're updating the ability release quest and the level up quest to give extra drops to the materials that you get from those specific farmable stages. And then also Conquest is getting a drop rate increase, which, cool, I guess. It helps new players, so that is cool for them. We'll talk about that. This is the overall satisfaction with the 3rd anniversary from JP players, with a 56% positive aspect, and I think that's wild, so I'm going to make my own video on that. And then we move on to the theme, which is Christmas themed, as we kind of knew already. So this is where we're going to start talking about the new incoming characters. Alright, so for this we'll move over to the English Dev Diary, and the first character is a new Christmas Momiji, 5-star EX Unbound Earth character on Festive Memories, Ogre's Pride, Wholehearted Devotion, and Commander. Her first skill, 90 points, guaranteed pierce for everybody, including the rear guard, and then decreases all targets' ult resistance by 100%, and then get an extra 10% based on the total number of times allies receive an ult attack, for a max total of 180% ult resistance down. So, the way this works is that if you are fighting a single target enemy and you get ulted on one character, you get a 10% stack. If you are fighting multiple enemies who do single target attacks, and all of them do ults, that can be up to a 30% stack per turn. If you're fighting an enemy who does an AoE ult and hits all 3 of your characters, that counts as 3 hits, so that would be an immediate 30%. It does cap at 180, but 180 is the highest ult resistance down debuff we've seen. Almesia does 120, the Awakened Isis does 150%? Question mark? But only within 5 turns. So, I mean, guaranteed Pierce by itself is kind of blah. Like, Pierce is not very strong until you start adding Pierce power, and just giving Pierce rate doesn't really mean too much. Ult resistance down, on the other hand, is very powerful, and the fact that it can go up to 180 does mean something. So I think the skill is kind of it's okay overall. Pierce being bad-ish to ult resistance being good, because it's kind of a wash. Her second skill, 30 points, changes all oranges to blues, and then a 10% gauge increase to blues. This is the same skill that Commander Shizu has, so changing all oranges to blues. This is a blue-focused physical meta, as we kind of predicted. And then ult is a single target earth physical for 250%. She is a support ult, so she gives extra weakness strike to Festive Memories, just like what Diablo and the Hero and Isis and the Kyoko Evil Benimaru does. It's the same kind of thing. It's just weakness strike, and it's a single target. So we move on now to Protector ALBIS. who's giving us extra damage against Earth enemies. She leads the Festive Memories team, giving them up to a 120% damage buff. Most people are going to sit at about 100 without any dupes. She gives physical allies attack and defense, and then she has a passive skill reset by 10 every turn, including the backline, just like Determination to Prosper Protector Maribel. And speaking of Maribel, they kind of do almost the same thing. Almost, but not quite. So her protection skill, we finally get our own barrier. So how other beatdown battles have had like a 6-hit or 12-hit barrier, we now get a barrier, which protects us completely from damage for every hit. So ALBIS stacks 1 barrier stack onto everybody every time you use her, which if you use her twice in a turn, you get 2 barrier stacks. She also permanently stacks 30% alt damage for everyone. And then she gives blue orbs a 300% skill point increase, which means that 6 blues is going to cap you out at 150. So we are hard capped at 150 skill points. We have a passive skill reset. We have stacking alt damage, and we have the ability to shield ourselves with a barrier, which can protect us from any amount of damage for 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, however many stacks you actually can put on a character. So the protection value for ALBIS is quite high, because you can just completely negate a whole butt ton of damage. But unlike Maribel, once that barrier is gone, you have no protection. Whereas Maribel is giving you guaranteed super guard, which works against normal attacks but not alts. But it's constant. Like, the super guard doesn't run out after being hit. So both of them are protectors who are giving extra damage against Earth. They are both defensive-oriented protectors. They both have the passive reset. They both have the skill point increase. They both have some kind of stacking damage ability. Maribel's has a higher ceiling, but it's very, very restricted. ALBIS, just 30% alt damage that affects everybody regardless, so that's good. It's kind of a wash. I'm not super impressed by ALBIS. I'm not super impressed by really any of the characters so far. I think they do have some value, but as far as summoning for them right now, like on paper, I would probably skip. Especially with the KAIJIN event coming in, that might lead towards a collab potentially in the future. Like, I really don't think you need to summon on this. Moving on though, we have the free-to-play battle Letus, Holy Night Girl. She, I think, is actually quite good for a free-to-play character. She's on Festive Memories, Wielder of Magic, and then the flashback beatdown emissary that all the free-to-play characters get. Her first skill is an unrestricted orb change, 2 greens to 2 blues, and then stacks weakness resistance down on a single enemy. So no gauge increase, kinda does suck, but you get some stacking effect there. Her second skill, 15 points, applies 1 barrier stack to the ally with the lowest HP. So you're now getting a barrier from ALBIS up to twice a turn, and you're now getting a stack of barrier from Ritus on your lowest HP character. So we can get multiple stacks of barriers per turn. This one only applies to lowest HP character, though. It's not everybody. So it is a little bit... It's going to be dependent and RNG based, but it does protect that character even more. And then on top of that, she stacks Pierce Power for Festive Memories allies, which is unlimited. So that will go with the Momiji Pierce rate buff right here. So it does make sense. Being on the free-to-play character, I don't really know. But the fact that her orb change is unrestricted, weakness resistance is unrestricted, the barrier, while being, HP restricted technically, can apply to anyone on any team ever. I think this Ritus will have good value outside of this meta as well, because she can protect a lot of people with that barrier. That's essentially one stack of invincibility for 1 hit, whether that be an alt or a really powerful single target or just some normal attack. Like, I think she will have value later on. She's got an AoE water physical attack, cool. And then we move on to the free-to-play protector Reindeer Alice. Yeah, sure, yeah. So she also applies a barrier Just to Festive Memories, though, not anybody else. 30% alt damage for 1 turn, not stacking, and then 50% skill point increase for 1 turn on blue orbs. So just a budget ALBIS, as most free-to-play protectors are. Being restricted to Festive Memories really does hurt her as far as being useful outside of the meta. So I'm not super in love with this kit. She can do it, yeah, but you got to build a very specific team to take part of it. At least have a couple characters on Festive Memories to really protect yourself. And then she gives Festive Memories 30% attack versus Earth, and then, well, extra damage against Earth, and then 12% attack for Festive Memories. So now we've talked about that, let's get their animations out of the way.
私は誰にも負けないわ。お待たせいたしました。今日は二人きりになれて嬉しいです。リアレットフラッシュ。私のことも見ていてください。恋人たちを包むこの慈しみの光に私のひとしずくの思いも添えてマイリトルプレイヤーいつかあなたへ届くといいな。
I think the devs knew. The devs had me in mind when they made ALBIS. I'm okay with that. The animations look fine. They don't really blow me away, but they do look good still. Now, something to talk about on top of these characters that we've seen is that the data mine has come in, and the devs, whether intentionally or unintentionally, did leak the 2 upcoming units for banners 2 and 3 for this Festive Memories meta. So if you do not want to be spoiled on who is coming in the future, you can skip ahead, and if you don't care, then I will show you in just give me a few seconds. So let me pull up the leaks and open in browser. First off, we have Maribel, which is an interesting pick. Christmas Maribel. She's getting her own character introduction quest alongside Momiji. And then the next unit afterwards is Violet. Christmas Violet. So we know the full meta, which is kind of weird that we know it before even the meta has come out, which again, I think kind of lends into the fact that they're going to push this and then push maybe something else special also in December. They normally don't do this at all. Like, we wouldn't find these characters out for weeks. So the fact that they're in here now, kind of interesting. So the meta is going to be Protector ALBIS, Momiji, and then either Maribel or Violet will be the DPS character. Or they could both be, who knows. We don't know what they do, we just know that they are the next incoming units. There are some skill fusions that are being added to this. They're pretty much the ones that I called. We'll talk about them in their own separate video later today, so not too big of a deal there. Moving on, we have the Beatdown battle example, and it is a single target versus trainee, which is interesting. They've brought Idol Shuna, which is fine, and also they've brought Tempest Elite Benimaru, who, you know, does make sense in a single target setting. This is a physical team, and there's only one enemy, so the alt resistance down does work. We're already getting alt resistance down from Momiji, though, so that's a bit unnecessary. We do have an attack seal, though, on the front line, which could sort some people out, but you see that they've also brought along Ogre's Pride Shuna as well. So, sure, I guess. That's magic damage for herself and weakness strike for everybody. That's expensive, though. Remember, we are capped at 150 points. So you're not going to be able to use everything immediately. You're going to have to hold the Shuna buff or something, and then hold the Idol Shuna buff as well. Or, well, you could use that and Momiji at the same time. But here is the barrier being applied now from ALBIS. And I think, yeah, they let her. Oh, yeah. Yep. I like that animation. I don't really care about Momijis, but the barrier I think will be interesting. I don't think this trainee really hits that hard. So, and we have actually quite a few teams that are fire focused, but there's the one stack of the barrier now. So if you can take one hit from trainee and you will not take any damage. So they'll send these blue orbs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting that we're not getting super weak point from Momiji. It's just normal weak point. Don't question it. And then here is barrier broken, then a hit for 753 damage, which is not strong. There's that barrier broken, and Benimaru gets to retain his barrier. So that's how that is going to work. All right, but now we're going to end inside the game itself. First, we'll take a look at this 100 million Magicrystal gift campaign. So from tonight, an amazing campaign will be held where a total of 100 million Magicrystals will be distributed between all chancellors. This is clickbait, absolute clickbait. So what happens is that during the period, you can get these special shards, whether through login bonuses or limited missions. And you can get up to 100 shards, which you can then exchange for a certain amount of Magicrystals. Now, the JP stream said that you can get a total of 330 crystals with using your 100 shards. So, yeah, it says 100 million Magicrystals. Yeah, total clickbait. You get 330 total, like whoop-de-doo. Because you can do the 100 once, the 75 once, the 50 once, the 25 twice, the 5 10 times, and you do one for whatever's left over, math. I mean, free crystals is free crystals, technically, yeah. But they've also added some milestone rewards for how many shards that all chancellors get, up to 10 million. And you can get, cake, hammers, some ingots, an crystal hammer, and an EX shard at 10 million. So there are, it's free stuff. And so you can't really argue with free stuff, because this will be very easy to do since everyone's going to do the missions and everyone will be logging in. It's not like this will be difficult at all. So it is cool that they're giving us stuff. But yeah, the 100 million campaign is quite clickbaity. And then we move into the actual content preview. This is just everything that we've already talked about, kinda. We're getting Black Friday Magicrystal sales starting tonight on the typical packs. So the $80 pack, the $25 pack, and like the $5 packs. They're going to get sales attached to them. We have ticket packs for the Momiji and ALBIS banners. We have their actual banner itself, which is a Super Isekai Revelry. So it'll be a 6% rate up, just like the anniversary banners. Whether or not that actually does anything is a totally different story, because as we know, rate up is a lie. But also, some Festive Memories Force and Ogre's Pride EX characters will be available again. So, because Festive Memories is a really crap category, and there's only one EX unit, and that's Idol Shuna, they had to add some value into that banner, which I'm glad they did. We'll take a look at what Ogre's Pride looks like as far as EX characters who can be there, but it does make the value go a little bit higher. Here's the login bonus. Again, 200 tickets that you can exchange for a 5-star guaranteed ticket. We have the Christmas event where you can get Alice and Ritas. We have Ritas Beatdown Battle. We have the character introduction quest for Momiji, so this is another 30 free crystals that you can get. We have the weekend Rimuru Predation quest. that's a name, sure. We've got adjustments to item drops in certain stages. We've got the adjustments to healing potions received from Bond Conversations. Tempest gets a little Christmas look. The Dearest Friend Double Bond XP campaign is going to be active starting tonight. And that's about it. So, Christmas meta. We already know who everyone is. We know that we're getting the KAIJIN event coming. We know that we're getting Defense Battle, even though it's not technically listed in the in-game preview. The JP stream did tease that. And overall, like looking at the kits, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna say it's not really super necessary, especially if you have no crystals coming off the anniversary. I don't think you need this team. We have a lot of fire units in this game already, whether or not be old or new-ish. Like Idle Shuna has been a thing for a year. Tempest Elite came out in March. Ogre's Pride came out a couple months ago. We have already just fire units in general if we go filter it down. Like Tempest Elite Rimuru, Fire Violet is a thing, Christmas Shizu, Christmas Velzard are things, Commander Shizu is a thing, Prosper Lumi and Summer Lumi are things. Summer Shizu is fire single target EX and physical. So it's not like we're lacking fire characters. So I really don't think, at least maybe up to EX2 for most players, is going to be too much of a struggle if you have some of these options. And again, once it comes out, I'll do alternate teams with other teams that can probably take it on. I don't really think it's going to be that difficult. Maybe like Inferno and Dire might need the barriers to protect you from damage. We'll have to see on that. But there are a lot of teams that can probably beat at least EX2. And then if we filter out by the forces, so Ogre's Pride, and then we go EX. This is the EX for Ogre's Pride. So Idle Shuna is on Festive Memories. She's going to be on the banner, like guaranteed. They used Tempest Elite Benimaru and Ogre's Pride Shuna during their developer live stream. So chances are probably high that both of them appear on the banner. Vengeance Shuna and Tempest Elite Shuna, like, I don't really think they should be there, nor do I think Bride Shuna should be there. These two are magic characters. She's physical, and she's limited to Tempest Elite. They could. I wish they didn't. I really hope they put Soe on the banner. I don't know if they actually would, but if they want to add some extra special bait to that banner, they would put Soe on it. Because Soe is still a really solid option for Magic synergy teams. Like, really, really good. So he would be, I think, interesting bait for a lot of players. The old Fire Momiji, I mean, it would make sense to put her with a different Momiji character, but I don't know if they'll put her on. She's AoE, she's Pierce and Synergy focused, yeah, which is what the team is. So, possibilities. But we know that Idle Shuna at bare minimum is going to be on that banner. And then it could be a hodgepodge of these other characters. It will also have the old 5-star characters that are getting skill fusions, including Idle Shuna is getting one. Again, we'll talk about that in a video later today. But overall, my initial thoughts are it's a skip. It's Prosper 2.0 with a different coat of paint on it. I'm not a super big fan of the Prosper team already. If you have Prosper, you already have a team that does extra damage against Earth. No, you don't. But you have a fire character in Lumi, and you have a defense-oriented team that can survive. And then Ogre's Pride is fire. Fire 2.0 is obviously fire. Tempest Elite is fire. You could probably burn the stage down between Violet and Tempest Elite Rimuru. You could do my unlimited burn strat that I did with Elmesia. Like, that could probably work. I think these events are going to have options for you. So I think it should be much easier than, say, the Divine General team, where, EX1 had 1.8 million HP and whatever Inferno had 18 million. Like, I don't foresee that being a thing, because this team just doesn't put out that much damage. Probably being the keyword. But overall, I think this is a pretty safe skip to save your crystals for either a possible potential incoming collab or just New Year's in general. New Year's teams are generally pretty good for January, late December, January teams. So we'll have to see that. But overall, nothing really sticks out to me as being like, oh, you must summon for this gimmick. Because the barrier, like, is cool. We have other defensive mechanics, though. Like, we can get around damage. It's not a big deal. And she doesn't do anything else that really jumps out at me as saying, you must summon. So, pretty safe skip. We'll have to see what their whole kits are and how they actually perform to give a definite answer, but based on what I've seen, I think it's a skip. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below about the kits, the unit picks in general. how you feel about the secret characters that I won't put up in case you wanted to skip that. Let me know your thoughts. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you all in just over 12 hours from now.